Daf Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph by the Gemara around halfway down. Alma, we see from our Mishnah the fact that we make the guy pay $100 to each guy, the thief. We see that in a case of doubt, we still make the guy pay. We don't say that the guy has a hazakah of his own money, and therefore he doesn't have to pay twice. Or like wait for Eliyahu Navi to decide. But maybe just next case says two people left an item with one shomer, and the second guy, one guy did $100, and the guy did $200. Each guy's paying $200. Each guy gets 100, and the rest gets put away. But how come in the first case you paid twice, and the second case you left it to the side? And then he says, Pikadon agazel karamid. You're asking a question from a deposit, which there's no hiyub, versus a stolen item. Kansura banan. Sorry, the guy who stole something, they penalize him, he has to pay twice. Because in the law, the deposit where he didn't do not therefore he's not required to pay twice. The problem is, from the case of deposit to another case of deposit. From gezel to gezel. What does that mean? From one case of shomer to another case. The first case, Mishnah says, in the case of a shomer told two people, the father of one of you guys deposited $100 with me. The end of the day, I don't know which one it was. $100 each. The next case is in the case of the deposit where two guys dropped off money. One guy 200, two guys 200. One guy 100, second guy 200. He puts 100 and 100, and the third 100 waits on the side. He doesn't have to pay back everybody. So in the case of the first case, as if he got two different bundles, two different times. Therefore, he should have paid attention. That's why he's paying twice. In the second case, he got it in one bundle. $300 in an envelope. He doesn't know who got what. He did not need to pay attention. Because if they gave it to them at the same time, the shomer should have told them, you guys weren't strict and careful when you gave it to me. I should have been more careful. Therefore, you guys should have known the difference between the money. But in the case of stolen property, you have a stira with another case of stolen property. We read this case in our Mishnah. I saw from one of you, I don't know which one, or in the case of one of your dads left money, I don't know who it was, and you have to give $100 to each. Or maybe if it's stira. In Neva Mod it says, someone stole money from five people, stole money from five people, from one of them. The end of the day, he doesn't know which one he sold from. Each guy says, you sold from me. You leave the money there, and you say, good luck. You believe $100 there and say, okay, you guys decide. Give it a different holes. So in that case, from the fact that he doesn't pay all five guys, we see that you don't take money out of Safek. But we say in that case that you do leave the money in the master, in the guy's hand without forcing it out. So the Gemara says, I don't know. In our case, our Mishnah agrees with Rabbi Tifon, be Rabbi Akiva, who holds that who disagrees and maybe he should have to pay. Because we see in the right side says Rabbi Tifon would agree, but if the guy told two people, he doesn't know which one he stole from. Each. So we see Rabbi Tifon does agree with our Mishnah that you do pay. So how come in the case of the five, by Rabbi Tifon, by the Mishnah, even with the five guys, how come he has to pay each guy? The Gemara says over there, the Katabile, that case is where they're all asking him for money. But he only wants to pay one. In our case, where he wants to, obviously, he feels guilty and he wants to be yotzeh the money that he stole, and therefore, to avoid punishment. Therefore, he wants to pay it out and make him cash out to each person. We also see, we can infer from our Mishnah because it specifically says the time showed where he agreed, he admitted from himself. If we see our Mishnah is different, because he's not getting sued, rather he wants to be yotzeh himself. In the case of Mishnah where the five guys, they're asking him for money. So the Gemara says, the guy who stole the money, what's he saying when the five guys are yelling at him? Rida says that he's quiet, and Ramatan says he's quiet, is screaming. According to the opinion holds that he's screaming out is because, and that's the reason why he's patur aval shtika. Because if he would have been quiet, we know you're silent. It's an admission. According to the hold that he's quiet and still patur. Over here, if he's quiet, it's not considered admission because shtika dehachalav kodahu must amarle. Because over here, the guy can tell everybody else, I was quiet to each guy because there's no point in me screaming to each guy. I know I don't owe five guys money. I only know it's one of them. I don't know which one it is. So I'm gonna start yelling at each guy. I just got quiet. I'll have to still figure it out, but I wasn't quiet because I admitted to each guy. I'm out of order. The case of the five people. Maniac is left name mistake, you have to leave it there. B'shakli l'lukul ba'azli, I mean they all take it and split it. Whenever you're not sure, when you put something down, you're not sure who takes it. You should not pick it up. Right? They shouldn't be picking it up if they don't know who it belongs to. So how do you leave it there for them to take if they don't know how to pick it up? How does that solve anything? Marav Safra, when it says Vianiach, when it says leave it there, it means he should give it to Bedin to handle. And Bedin should have to figure out which one of the five guys get it. Amar has a question. Did Rabbi Akiva already hold in our Mishnah, in the Yevamot Mishnah, the case of the five? This is not the way to get to get yourself patur from the Avira. Actually, Rabbi Tefon holds that you should pay each guy to make sure you unload the Avira of stealing. But there you see that you do pay out money. You don't say leave the money where there is a hazakah. From Babat Patra. Nafal habayit alav al immo. If a house falls on a man and his mother, killing them both, what's the difference? Yosheh haben omrim, in case of the day that we have an earthquake. Interesting. Yosheh haben omrim, the children of the son say ha'em met harishuna. The mother died first, and therefore they get her property first. V'yosheh ha'em omrim, but the mother's children say, first one was the children of the son. They say the mother died first, that the mother's stuff went to the son, therefore they get both. The sons, the mother's children, the mother's inheritors say, Haben met Rishon, the son died first, and therefore her property goes to them. Elu be'elu, in this case, Modin Shehaku, everybody agrees that they split it. Amar Akiva, Modin Abezu, Shenachim Chazakah, leave it in their Chazakah, wherever it is, they keep it, which is against Yevamot, which shows that you do have to pay out. No, regarding the case of the lady, Shema v'Shema, we're not sure who belongs to what, it's a double safek. And that's why you split it. Gazal Echad, that's why it says in Chazakah, sorry. Gazal Echad Mechamisha, the case of the five people, Bari v'Shema, one of them, he definitely stole. And we're not sure which guy it is. Since that, he has to pay each guy. Amar Lishnan, Gazal Echad Mekem B'Nei, B'Shema v'Shema, in a case where he says, I stole from one of you, but I don't know who it is. And that's a case also of a double doubt. You have to give each guy. So how come in that case you have to give each guy if it's a case of double doubt? Maybe it's not Rabbi Akiva, and we can say that no. And who says Rabbi Akiva over there that you should have to pay it? Because we say over there, Rabbi Tefon would agree, but in the case where he stole from two people, he doesn't know what he stole from. Who is he agreeing to over there? Rabbi Akiva Bar Kluta. Obviously, he's agreeing to Rabbi Akiva, like we saw you argued against in Yevamot, and therefore he does have to pay both. So how come in that case they pay both? If we say usually not, we might have Shema. Now we for 1 second. We say it's a case of double doubt. Hada, first of all, look tani because we see that they didn't sue him. He agreed to him, so he admitted himself. Additionally, Rabbi Chia says in that brayta that in our Mishnah, when it says that the guy is saying, I owe you, I stole from you or you, each of them say, I don't know. So therefore, Shema v'Shema, like the case of the mother. So how come he has to pay both in our case? If we see by the mother, you leave it in Chazakah, wherever it is. So the Gemara says, we already told you why he has to pay both. It's the valid to the Shemaim because he wants to be his Avira and pay back both. Amar Rava really hold whenever you have the two separate items. He should have checked. But Rava says, Papa who said, Hakol Modim. Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Tefon would agree. Bishnaim shehefkidu etzel ro'ev. Two people who leave animals by the shepherd, and one guy gave one guy gave two. Shemagniach ro'ev benehem was like the shepherd can leave it, the extra one there, and say good luck. So how come? That's also considered two separate deposits, and therefore he should have to pay both two animals. Over there is different by the animals. They dropped off their animals into the flock without him knowing. And therefore it's a case of like the single envelope scenario where he didn't know to check. Next part of Mishnah said that you have the case of the two utensils. One's more expensive than the next. One was $100, one guy's was $1,000. Now the Gemara says seemingly the same exact case. Same exact two cases in Mishnah. One guy, the first case was suffix money. The second case was a suffix of, we gave example of whiskey. $1,000 bottle of whiskey and $100 bottle of whiskey. In the first case in Mishnah was $100 and $200. Why we need both cases? We need both cases. The Ashmin and we mentioned the first case of cash. Only over there, Hamim would say that you give it out. Mishum Delikab said that because there's no loss to the actual item that was given, right? $100, $100, 100 each, and then the $100 leaves to the side. In the case of the kelim, there is a loss in value because you're breaking or splitting up the bigger expensive item. Mostly maybe they'll see that he has to leave everything for Navi. I mentioned in the second case, maybe only over there you would hold that you leave it for Eliyahu Navi. In the case of the cash, where you can divide that loss of money, that you should return it. Therefore, we need both cases to teach you that there is a machloket like both cases. What do you mean? The reason for Yossi is not because that, but rather the reason is because he wants to stop a scammer. Gemara says no. Both cases are needed to teach the halachot of Chachamim. And Mishnah taught both cases in a concept of not only this but also that. Right? There's different ways the Mishnah lists cases. One of the formats is not only in the case of cash, also the case of the kelim. There's still a machloket, even though seemingly the second case is not needed. But sometimes Mishnah says two cases like that. Okay, Mishnah. Hamafkid perot et leaves fruit by his friend. Even if it's spoiling, don't touch it. Don't sell it. Rishon says, he should sell it in front of Bedin because he's doing a favor to the guy as if he's returning a lost item because the guy's making you watch it. If he comes back and it's full of worms, then you're not doing him a favor. Therefore, you should sell it to help him out. My time. What's the reason Hachamim do not allow you to sell it? Rav Kana says, a person would rather have his own item. He'd rather have one apple of his own that he grew himself versus 9 of someone else's. And I don't buy someone else's product with my product. I want my apple back. And the reason why you can't sell it because we're worried. Maybe the guy who told you to watch this bundle of apples, he used those apples as tiruma for the fruits that he has in his own house. And therefore, the fruits that you have in your house that you're watching over is now tiruma. And therefore, if you give it away to someone else or sell it, you're giving away tiruma. Mesiah, a question. Someone else watch his fruit. The shomer may not touch the therefore, since he can't sell it, the owner of the fruit can use those fruits as tiruma. So now the question is, based on Rav Kana makes sense with Rav Hana, who said that the reason is because he wants his own fruits. That's why we have the concept of therefore you can make your item tiruma because it's a cause and effect. What do you mean therefore? That's the reason why he gave you can't sell it, right? Let's picture of Rashbad. Rav Nachman, sorry. Rav Nachman said the reason why you can't sell it is because maybe the guy made it tiruma. So now, how do you fit this with the Braita? The reason why you shouldn't sell it because you might make it tiruma, therefore you can make it tiruma. How does that make sense? That's the exact reasoning. The reason can't be the effect. Where it says Hachi Kamar, Hachamim say don't sell it. The Hashina maybe you could turn it into tiruma. Therefore, since we know the guy can't sell it, the owner, the fikah, therefore the owner can mishuv hadat know for sure that he can make it into tiruma. The only time you're not allowed to sell it is when it lost a normal amount of loss, normal percentage, right? So there's a certain amount of percentage of how much you would estimate or guesstimate a fruit depreciates or loses. Like if you have 100 apples, you're losing 6 apples per week, for example. That's when you don't sell it. But if more than that is spoiling, you're allowed to sell. Everybody agrees, even Hamim agree, you can sell them Badin. Obviously, because even if it's spoiling more than usual, it might be Tiruma. Regarding Rav Kana, or maybe not, because maybe Rav Kana says that you'd rather have your own item. I'd rather have my own stuff that I grew, but if I'm losing 95% of my fruits, then obviously I would want to sell it. to cash out on while it still has value. Gemara says, but 1 second, no, maybe not. It literally says a person would rather have his own single item versus 9 of someone else's. So maybe he would rather have a 95% loss as long as he keeps his own item because he's part of it. Gemara says, no, that's an exaggeration. Absolutely not. A person prefers his own stuff. But if he's going to lose 98% of his items, or whatever the percentage is, he's going to lose majority of his items, then yes, sell my item so I could cash out and I'll buy something else if I have to, versus me coming back to my fruits and I have nothing left. I'd rather have value versus my own item. In general, however, if I have my own fruits and someone's offering me more of the other fruit, I wouldn't want to trade. But over here, because the person would rather not have everything spoil, you're not to sell.